The fog rolled in, heavy and cold, blanketing a forgotten graveyard. Gravestones cracked, trees twisted against the night sky. The silence was suffocating until the bell tolled. From that mist stepped a figure unlike any the wrestling world had ever seen. Tall, pale, dressed in black. He didn't shout. He didn't smile. He didn't need to. This wasn't a man you cheered for. This was a man you feared. In 1990, The Undertaker arrived, part Mortician, part myth. And over the decades, he would become much more. A phantom, a cult leader, a biker, a legend. This is the evolution of the Deadman. When The Undertaker debuted at Survivor Series 1990, fans didn't know what to make of him. Here was a wrestler who moved slowly, deliberately, almost as if death itself walked the aisle. With manager Paul Bearer at his side, clutching the mysterious urn, Undertaker became unstoppable. Opponents didn't just lose matches. They looked like they'd seen a ghost. The gray gloves, the wide-brimmed hat, the cold stare. He wasn't selling t-shirts. He was selling fear. And it worked. Within a year, he was WWF champion. The Mortician had become the Deadman. But death never stays the same. By 1994, the look changed. Purple gloves, purple boots, eerie blue and violet lighting. He was no longer just an undead Mortician. He was supernatural. This was the era of resurrection. The lights would go out, the bell would toll, and suddenly the Undertaker would appear where no one expected. The crowd believed he wasn't human. Feuds with King Kong Bundy, Kama, and Mabel turned arenas into horror shows. And when opponents looked into his eyes, they didn't just see a man. They saw eternity. In late 1995, a real injury changed everything. A brutal shot from Mabel shattered his orbital bone. Most men would vanish for months. Undertaker returned almost immediately. But this time, he wore a black leather mask, part gladiator, part demon. He looked less like a wrestler and more like a monster barely held together. His promos were darker, his matches stiffer. The Phantom Undertaker wasn't a gimmick. It was survival. And it added yet another layer to the myth. 1996 marked the rise of the Lord of Darkness. Gone were the purple gloves and wide hat. In their place, black leather, a teardrop tattoo, and eyes that had seen hell and walked back. This version was vicious, psychological, dangerous. The storylines weren't silly anymore. No repossessed gravestones or cartoon villains. Instead, fans saw brutality. Boiler room brawls, buried alive matches, the first Hell in a Cell. And in that cell, against Shawn Michaels, another shadow stepped forward. His brother, Kane. Paul Bearer revealed the family fire, the long-lost sibling. And suddenly, this wasn't wrestling anymore. It was gothic horror come to life. But in the year 2000, everything changed. At Judgment Day, during The Rock vs. Triple H, the lights dimmed, a motorcycle engine roared, and out rode The Undertaker. No hat, no coat, no funeral parlor tricks. This was the American Badass. He fought like a brawler, talked like a man, and rode into battle on a Harley Davidson. Fans were stunned. Some loved it, some hated it. But one thing was certain. Undertaker had reinvented himself again. The biker era grew meaner. By 2002, the American Badass had become Big Evil. Short hair, MMA gloves, a chain around his neck. This was a no-nonsense veteran with a chip on his shoulder. His catchphrase said it all. "I'll make you famous." And he did. Ric Flair at WrestleMania 18. Jeff Hardy in a ladder match that made Hardy a star, even in defeat. And a bloody war with Brock Lesnar that proved Undertaker was as dangerous as ever. He wasn't a ghost. He wasn't a biker. He was a legend in real time. By WrestleMania 20, the bell tolled again. The fog returned. The hat and coat came back. But this wasn't the same Deadman. It was a hybrid. The mystique of the Mortician with the striking power of the fighter. Fans erupted. The Undertaker was reborn. His feud with Randy Orton cemented him as the legend killer's ultimate test. His match with Batista at WrestleMania 23 proved he could still deliver fast, violent classics. And when he won the World Heavyweight Championship, it was proof that 3 decades into his career, Undertaker wasn't slowing down. He was evolving. By 2008, Undertaker didn't need weekly matches. He had something bigger. The streak. WrestleMania became his proving ground. 25 versus Shawn Michaels, arguably the greatest match in wrestling history. 26, the rematch, this time with Michaels' career on the line. 27 and 28, 2 brutal wars with Triple H culminating in the end of an era. 29, a story fueled by real grief, as CM Punk mocked the death of Paul Bearer. And then, WrestleMania 30. Brock Lesnar. The match was clunky. Undertaker was concussed. But the ending changed wrestling forever. 21 victories, 1 loss. The silence that followed was deafening. The streak was over. The body slowed. The aura remained. From Bray Wyatt, who carried his spirit forward, to Shane McMahon in Hell in a Cell, to Roman Reigns, who handed him another loss at WrestleMania 33. Many thought it was over then. Undertaker left his hat and coat in the ring, but he came back. John Cena. And finally, AJ Styles in a cinematic boneyard match at WrestleMania 36. That match was everything. Action, storytelling, callbacks, the perfect farewell. 30 years after his debut, Undertaker retired at Survivor Series 2020, the same event where it all began. No interruptions, no angles, just Undertaker, alone in the ring, standing in the fog, one last time. He was more than a wrestler. He was myth, fear, legend. The Undertaker didn't just survive eras. He defined them, from Mortician to cult leader, from biker to final boss. He evolved, and fans followed. For 3 decades, he was wrestling's greatest shadow. And even now, long after the bell has tolled, the Deadman still lives.